questions about buying property in Mexico. Hi, broadcasting not live from Mazatlan, Mexico, I'm Bill the Geek. This is the Bill Dallas Lewis channel, and we make videos about the joys of living in Mexico. We introduced Katie Ibarra, super realtor in the Lakeside, Chapala, Ajijic area. At the first week of every month, Katie joins us live. She shares with us a property and she answers the three big questions of the month about buying property in Mexico. I've known Katie for many years. She's from my hometown in Columbus, Ohio. She's going to answer three of the biggest questions people have asked her this month. Question number one she's going to answer is, will a real estate agent show you all around if you're in your initial exploratory stage and not really ready to buy a house? Question number two, Katie says she's been getting a lot of questions about closing cost when you buy a property in Mexico. And people want to know, what should a buyer expect in closing cost? Question number three, Katie says that people tell her that they hear that there are high capital gains taxes that have to be paid when you sell your property. Katie is going to share with you the answer to the question, is there something that you can do to alleviate this big dollar problema? And the first question we're going to ask her about buying property in Mexico is, will an agent show me houses if I am still just in the exploratory phase and not ready to buy?
Sure, absolutely. I do that all the time. Really, at that stage, what we're going to do is first start out and have a little chat and find out, where are they in process and what is it that they dream about finding in the way of a new home. But then I often will take them out to a few key neighborhoods so they can get kind of lay of the land and understand the characteristics of different neighborhoods that might be a fit for them. And then as far as seeing houses at that point, I have to be courteous to my colleagues and not schedule a bunch of appointments where they have to have their homeowners vacate for somebody who's really not ready. But what I'll do is find out if we've got some homes with my own agency that are on the market but not occupied. And then I can just take keys and we're not bothering anybody, but I could show a few of those homes. If not, then also we keep our eyes open for maybe some open houses I could take them to.
And for what it's worth, I've known Katie a long time. Some people say that James Brown was the hardest working man in music. Well, Katie Ibarra, she's the hardest working realtor in Ajijic. So you get an appointment with her. She's going to show you everything and tell you where you are. And then she's going to point out restaurants and places to buy stuff. So if you hook up with Katie for a day in Ajijic, woo, whatever. So let's go to the next question here.
Okay.
This question is, we have been getting more questions around closing cost. Could you explain a bit more on what buyers can expect?
Okay, sure. I think this is a point of anxiety for a lot of buyers because we can't give them an exact dollar amount until very close to time. And part of that reason is the closing costs are a factor of what the appraiser comes back with, which they go out maybe a week before the closing. So what we do is we tell buyers, anticipate roughly 4% of purchase price to be your closing cost. And so I pulled up an example statement that I had for a sale in June and thought, well, I've said it before on here, 4%, but maybe people would like to hear actual dollar amounts for an example. So this house that my buyers bought in June was $260,000 US here in Chapala. And Their grand total of closing costs with today's exchange rate would have been right around 10,000 US dollars. 6,000 of that is all government fees and taxes, and 4,000 of that is related to fees from the notario, which is the lawyer who acts kind of like a title company in the US and doing research that this person can sell the house, there's no liens, all that jazz. So if that helps a little bit for somebody to hear, 10,000 US dollars is what these buyers ended up having in closing cost on a $260,000 house. And when I did the calculation last night, that was 3.86%. So we're pretty close when we're telling them to anticipate 4%.
Okay. Okay, let's thank you, Katie. Let's go to our final question, which please leave a comment. Tell us what you think. If you like the video, consider clicking the like button. And if you know somebody that's looking for a property in Mexico, why not click the share button? I hear there are high capital gains taxes when a homeowner wants to sell their property. Is there something a buyer can do from the beginning to help alleviate this tax burden?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we say high, we're talking 35% of the value, like really high capital gains tax. So if you need to sell, you want to make sure you're going to be able to qualify for that exemption. And there's really 3 conditions that you need to satisfy. One would be that you've not used the exemption to sell another property over the previous 3 years. 2, you need to have a tax ID number, that RFC. And for a foreigner, that means you're first going to need a resident visa to get the tax ID. So that's 2 conditions. You've not used the exemption and you have a tax ID number. The third is proof of address. And they only accept 3 items. It's either your electric bill, your phone bill, or a bank account statement. And they want to see bills or statements that go back 6 months with your name and that property address. And that will satisfy the condition of having shown proof of address. But here's the thing, what the question you asked is, what can I do from the beginning? So what I do is, say for an example, it's a husband and wife buying and they're both going to be on the deed. I usually tell them, one of you put the phone bill in your name, one of you put the electric bill in your name. They say, maybe I'm not going to have a landline, I'm just using my cellular. Then I'll say, well, then the other person go open a bank account. And that way, you've got it set up correctly in the beginning.
We go live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. That's Chicago time, Houston time, every Saturday. So click the subscribe button and click the bell and you'll get a notification so that you can join in on the fun.
And it has to be for every name on the deed. You could even have where somebody's selling and one person meets all the qualifications, so they're 50% of the property they can exempt, and the other person doesn't meet it, and they would be hit with that big tax.
Okay. Wow, Katie, you're such a wealth of information. We're always so happy to see you. And I had some guy email me this week. Well, I watch your live show the day after, but can you ask Katie these questions? So people are expecting you. We invite Katie, and she's so gracious to join us the first week of every month. Katie Ibarra, thank you so much, and you have a great January.
Thanks so much, Bill. You too.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
She's so funny. Katie is that girl. Wow, you don't know, man. Jack Webb has hung out with Katie, and you get with her, man, and she's gonna rock your world. Okay, now thank you for watching, and thanks Katie Ibarra, who shows up live with us the first week of every month, and she gives us a fabulous property, and she answers 3 of the biggest questions she runs into about buying property in Mexico. We have many more videos to come. Click that subscribe button and we'll see you in the next video.